Welcome to MarketWurks.com. My name's Chris Quinlan, and I'm the founder and CEO of MarketWurks. More importantly, I'm your trainer and your tech support for your ongoing account with MarketWurks. So you might say that I have a vested interest in making your experience with MarketWurks the absolute best. Now, this is a very exciting time for us here at MarketWurks as we're releasing version 2.0 of our software. This is the culmination of over 4 years of consultations with market and event managers just like you. Consultations that informed the features we'll show you here and a few to come in the future. But let's stick with the here and the now to begin with. So what are we going to cover here? What I'd like to do is to give you an overview of the features and functions of our software that will not only save you valuable admin and programming time, but it will also allow you to schedule vendors to markets, generate vendor profiles and market maps, all of which provide immense marketing value for your market and your vendors. First step we want to do is to be able to log in. For that, you simply go to MarketWurks.com, click on Client Login, and then select the MarketWurks Client Login button. That's going to take you to your Administration tab. And you can see here, if you're a member of our MarketWurks family already, or if you've previewed us in a previous version, you'll notice there's been some significant changes. The biggest being that we've taken the navigation bar from across the top and put it down the left-hand side. This is to allow us to showcase the increased number of features that we provide you, and also to create a cleaner workspace when working within your application on the administration side of things. First thing you'll come to is your Vendors tab. This is where your applications become your vendor profiles. From here, you can view their basic information, such as name, category, and status, in addition to any tags that you may have assigned the vendor. Now, as with all of our data in MarketWurks, you can filter and export any of this information in unlimited configurations of that information. Say, for instance, you wanted to export the vendor name, their category, and their emails so that you could create an email list. All of this is possible from within your Vendors tab. Now, there's many options here, but we'll get to those in a feature-specific tutorial. Next is the Attendance tab. This is another of our highly requested features. It allows you to track attendance, whether they were present, they were no-show, late, or excused, or you can actually go in and place notes inside of the internal notes sections of that vendor's profile. These are private, so the public will never see them, just you as administrators. Again, with all of the data inside of MarketWurks, it's your data, and you can export it in an unlimited number of configurations. Next up is our Form Builder. This is where we allow you to create the application to get the information you need, including uploading documents or images, to approve or decline vendors. There are many options within the Form Builder, from auto-linking web addresses to adding price per dates for extra services. But we'll get to those in our Form Builder specific tutorials. Part of the Form Builder is the Form Options tab. Now, this is where you can go in and enable auto renewals for returning vendors, create acknowledgement forms, show after submit messages, generate thank you emails, and you can go in and decide which of the fields from your application that you want to form part of a vendor's public profile. Again, we'll get into the specifics on this tab when we get into the form building tutorials. Next up is Markets and Dates. This is where you create markets within your farmer's market. You may have the same location, but you may have a number of different markets within your program. Here you can see we've created one, which is an early season market date. We've got a description for it. It runs from 11 till 4. We've got 120 stalls. There's 12 market dates, and we can add dates to that market. Next up is our Pricing tab. This is where you can create multiple pricing tiers based on specific markets, the number of dates that the vendor would be attending that market, or the category of vendors. These price tiers can also be triggered by answers to questions within the application form. You'll notice here we've got one that's a farmer outside of a catchment area. Based on a specific form selection that they're outside of the catchment area, they've got a membership fee. They've got advanced pricing showing that their early season pricing is $35 per market. Holiday pricing is $70, but if they select 6 or more dates, they've got declining prices going down from there. And again, we'll get more into this when we get specifically into the pricing tutorial. Up next is placement. Now, this new placement feature is absolutely the most requested feature from our last couple of years. It allows you to assign vendors in a spreadsheet-style grid format with stalls down one side and market dates across the other. You can drop and drag vendors across a series of dates just like in a spreadsheet. It really is the cat's pajamas, isn't it? What is that anyways? This vendor placement is our simple vendor placement, which allows you to place vendors by market date in a list, and you can then print that list off. So this is a good tool to have when you simply want to enter the markets in a list format and then be able to print it off for yourself on market day. Next up is our Maps tab. This is where we allow you to upload your map of the market, which we will create for you as part of your subscription. Once uploaded, you can assign stall numbers to that map. The stalls remain static as vendor placements to them are made on a market date-to-date basis. Next up is the Embed Code tab. This is where the magic happens. Magic that can save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in programming time. Simply copy the code from the field above your sign-up form, market map, or vendor profile and paste it into the HTML of your website. Now this is a dynamic link that will always show whatever changes you've made into your admin account immediately on your website or on any website that you may have shared that embed code with. Up next is our Market Pages tab. This feature is a result of another request from our members for a place for vendors and or customers to go for market information, sort of a general market resource page. So we created a subdomain option for you to place these resources into. The Pages tab is where you can create new pages with text information or where you can upload signs, documents such as terms and procedures, or any other information you may want your vendors or the public to have access to. Adding a new page is really quite simple, but again, we'll get to that in a tutorial specific to it. Now we're into our Settings tab, and this is where we get down to the nitty-gritty specific to your market. We can decide whether your currency is US, Canadian, Australian, or British. We allow you to create online payments if you have a Stripe account. So if you want to have an administration fee that gets charged to a Stripe account as soon as they apply, you can build that in there. This is our accounting and invoicing option. We have integrations with both FreshBooks and QuickBooks. So if you've got an account with either of these, we can allow you to integrate your invoicing and accounting directly from your MarketWurks vendor tab. Next is the approval email. This is an email that goes out automatically as soon as a vendor's status is changed to approved. It's customizable to the approval, but it is universal across the board. The declined email is the same as the approval email, only a little bit different. It's one that goes out if you change the status of a vendor to declined. Saves a lot of time. Embed styling, this is one if you've got some hotshot programmer on your team who wants to change the way that your styling sits in your forms, you can get them to go in there. Season archive, this is one of the greatest features that we came up. It allows for you to create a corporate history of your market, where you can go in and say you took 2018 and you decided that you wanted to put all that information into a box. You can just archive that season and you can always go back and visit it as it was. It then allows you to create the application form based on that season's application form, add some new dates, add any new questions, and then you can move on from there. So Season Archive is a great resource for creating that corporate history and also to be able to go back and say to a vendor, hey, what do you mean you weren't here that year? Stall designation. We learned rather quickly that all stalls are not designated by number alone. So we now allow you to customize your stalls by combinations of letters and numbers up to 4 characters. Say F for farmer or FT for food truck. Let's simply go in and type in F and then 1. And that's going to be that stall's designation. Simply save that, and that designation will show up on the public map. So you can also include a category legend for your customers if you like. Next up is Market Pages. This is where you create your subdomain for your market resources page. Simply go in, give yourself a little subdomain. In this case, I called it Whistler 2018, and then that will be your subdomain. What that looks like when you go into it is very much like this. This would be if you typed in whistler28.mymarket.org, you would be directed to a page that looks like this. There's an image and some text, and if we want to log in, we can actually log in with the vendor profile, and they can log in and see their information there. Again, we'll get more into that once we get into the tutorial specific to these features. Down in our developer settings, we've got some options for you to change the fonts. We realize that you don't necessarily want it to look the way that we thought it would look good within our program, so you have a choice of choosing between 3 fonts. Well, that concludes our overview of MarketWurks version 2.0. Thanks for checking it out. If you'd like to look at some more feature-specific tutorials, please scroll down the page on the website. We've got more coming every day. And also feel free to give us a shout at 1-888-560-1770 or email me at chris@marketworks.com. I'd be glad to schedule a video interview with you and go over the program to show you how well MarketWurks works with you. Cheers.